Today's Dallas Cowboys report is presented by Vincero Collective. I'm wearing one of their watches right now, and you should too, because they are awesome. They help you elevate your style game without breaking the bank to do so in the process. 20% off and free shipping at VinceroCollective.com/chat when you use promo code chat. Let's get into some overreactions now for America's team. Number one, Mike McCarthy saving his job as the Cowboys head coach. I'm going to go accurate for now. I am going to add qualifier today because, I can do it. It's my show, right? I think we should all be very happy and very impressed with what Mike McCarthy has done this year. Mike McCarthy deserves probably a lot more praise than most of us were prepared to give him entering this year. The job that Mike McCarthy has done this season is something Jason Garrett could never do. This is the difference in the level of coach between Jason Garrett and Mike McCarthy. You've won games without your franchise QB, your left tackle. Your number 1/number 2 left guard have both been banged up at various points. You've been down your number 2 wide receiver. You've battled injuries quite a bit more than you were hoping for. Here you sit at 4-1. That's not something Jason Garrett could ever do. Now, the difference between Mike McCarthy being better than Garrett and Mike McCarthy being enough for this Cowboys team is going to come into December. It's going to come into January. Can you make that playoff run that you weren't that far away from making last year? I think, again, the NFC this year, just like last season, is wide open. The Eagles look really good, don't get me wrong there, but the Bucs are beatable. We've seen them have some issues. They almost booed against the Falcons last week. You just beat the Rams by 2 scores with 102 passing yards. The NFC is wide open. In the end, Mike's job, safe right now. We're not firing him midseason. You got to make a playoff push if you're going to keep your job beyond this year. But this 4-game winning streak is damn impressive. Bengals, Giants, Commanders, Rams. Strangely enough, the Giants have the best record and might actually be the best team of that group. The Bengals have their issues, and the Rams do too, both on the offensive line. But if I told you, even with a healthy Dak Prescott, Dallas began the year 4-1, I think we all would be overjoyed. That's how we should be feeling, especially because it is the backup QB that you're winning with right now as your defense plays out of its damn mind. As the head coach, yes, we can give Dan Quinn plenty of credit. More on him in a little bit. Mike does deserve credit and a bit of praise as well. But overall, do you want to keep Mike McCarthy as the Dallas Cowboys head coach? Y for yes, N for no. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So if the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there. Y or N. Overreaction number 2. We should all be hyped about Cooper Rush. Accurate. Yes, we should be again. Individual, there's a weird, dichotomy, difference of balancing side of things here. The individual play versus the overall results. You only care about the overall results in the end, but you shouldn't make the individual decision based on just the results. But you're 4-0 with Cooper Rush. You should be hyped as hell that you're finding ways to win football games with your backup QB. Doesn't matter if he's playing like a top 5, top 10, top 15, top 25, top 30, top 70 QB. You're winning those games. Expectations matter here a lot. That's the whole point of a backup QB, right? That your expectations are lower. And Rush has exceeded them. Remember, I think this could have been a very different storyline. If Will Grier doesn't get hurt before the first preseason game, I don't know if Rush wins the backup QB job. So winning games with Rush, period, is awesome. We should all be hyped as hell that the Cowboys have found ways to win football games. Now, as for the individual side of it here, the Dak Rush debate, that's overreaction number 3, which we'll get to in a moment. But first, today's show is made possible by Vincero Collective. If you're trying to elevate your style game, have a nice baller watch, maybe a post-game win watch, for example, like I'm wearing today, got to use a Vincero watch. 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code CHAT at VinceroCollective.com/chat. Stylish, quality, versatile, 3 great words to describe Vincero Collective. Watches are a must. I feel so much more comfortable wearing one. Over 30,000 5-star reviews featured in Forbes, Business Insider, Newsweek, etc. Vincero Collective is going to elevate your game without making you break the bank in the process. Limited time offer, folks, so don't wait or it'll be too late. 20% off and free shipping site-wide with code CHAT at VinceroCollective.com/chat. Support the show. Use code CHAT at VinceroCollective.com/chat. If you want to be a winner like America's team, you got to dress the part, and that's where Vincero Collective steps in. Let's talk now about the quarterback situation. Cooper Rush over Dak Prescott is still and always will be an overreaction. And again, we just spent, 3 minutes praising Cooper Rush? That's all true. Here's the reality, though. The offense is not why you're winning football games. The offense is not really that good. I think especially against the Rams, that was not a good offensive showing. But when your special teams gifts you 9 points, which could have been 10, could have been more, extra point, weird stuff there, you're happy. 4 starts this year. The season stats for Cooper Rush: 61.0 completion percentage, 839 yards, 7.1 yards per attempt, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Cooper Rush has done a good job. Again, those numbers, though, are not indicative of, dominant play. Frankly, it's average to below average for most QBs. I mean, the expected completion percentage is almost 3 percentage points lower, a massive figure. The offense, if you want to be more than just a playoff team, has to do more for this Cowboys franchise. And that's the good news. You've got Dak Prescott waiting in the wings. You've got a guy that has proven time and time again to be a top 10 QB. Great stat from my buddy Bobby Belt. The last, since the midpoint of 2018, when you got Amari and the offense kind of figured itself out a little bit better, and the O-line played a little bit better, and Dak took a big-time step forward, you've led the league in yards every single season with Dak when he's been healthy. Now, again, injuries are a big part of that. You need to be healthy. That's a different conversation. And the injury this week we'll get to in a moment. But you've got a top 10 QB. Yeah, week 1 was a shit show and a disaster. All of the evidence we have says that's the outlier game as opposed to everything else. Now, I don't know if Dak's going to play this week. He did not practice at all last week. That's indicative to me of, with Mike McCarthy saying he wants a full week of practice, probably not. He's got to make major strides there. I know Dak will push himself, and you got to be smart long term because you're already playing with house money. You're 4-0 with Cooper Rush. Hell, you could go 4-1, and I think we'd all be like, yeah, that's awesome. That's super cool that you got there, had I given that as an option to you beforehand. Dak will visit with a doctor on Tuesday. The start of that 4 to 6 week recovery window is here. 4 weeks is marked today on the calendar since his surgery. So this is the real actual opening. I know your owner goes out and says, oh, well, it's a great recovery, maybe 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and you kind of get a distorted sense of perception there. I'll call it maybe 50-50 for Dak playing. I think we'll know pretty early in the week whether or not it's going to be the case, if he's practicing or not. If he doesn't go, it's okay. You're playing with house money here. So once they're both healthy, pick a QB. CR for Cooper Rush or DP for Dak Prescott. Let me know in the comment section. Let's get to our 4th overreaction. The Cowboys can make a run. Emphasis on can. And note, I'm not using the phrase outside of this as just the explanation, our year. Not making that phrase until we get to after the Super Bowl and they actually win it, right? But you can. The defense has done its job in spectacular fashion. They have not allowed a game with multiple touchdowns all year long. Now, at some point, that will happen. At some point, your defense will have an off day. And that's okay. Every team does that. You're hoping, though, that it comes, on a random November day as opposed to in the postseason. But imagine this offense steps up. The defense is championship caliber. Now, the offense right now is not. But if you can get a top 5 offense that you've had in the past with your current quarterback, that's really good news for the Dallas Cowboys because that team, in a very open and beatable NFC across the board, can absolutely make the run I know that we all want so much. Remember, in the end, October doesn't matter for Dallas. It's reasonable to be excited about it. I certainly am right now, but it's all about the playoffs for this team. We can make all the best decisions about how to win football games to get us there, but in the end, because it's been almost 30 years now, You've got to actually win the games come December. Now, we'll be here every step of the way, so make sure you guys are subscribed for free Cowboys videos every single day. YouTube.com/CowboysTV. Hit that big red button and subscribe. I do want to give some more praise to the defense here. And this pass rush absolutely is deadly. It is terrifying for opposing teams. Look, the Rams and Bengals and Commanders and Giants, some of the best offensive lines. Tougher tests coming this week against the Eagles, but they have owned with oftentimes 4-man rushes. 4-man. That's it. Osa had 7 pressures against the Rams, a blistering 27% rate. Tank and Micah both had 6. Dante Fowler had 4. Sam Williams, maybe breakout game, had 3. You brought up Carlos Watkins from the practice squad, and he had 3. Dorance Armstrong had 2, and maybe none bigger than that first one to force the fumble and lead to everything going on there. 5 others each had a pressure. The pass rush, and Dan Quinn in his bag right now, getting home with 4 in very creative fashion is a big deal for this Cowboys team. When you get home with 4, when they smell blood in the water, you can do a lot of fun stuff in the back end with your coverage, just disguising stuff, showing cover 3, doing cover 2, 2 high shells. It allows you to be dangerous up front. And this Cowboys defense, especially that front 4 pass rush, it scares teams. It scares them bad. Speaking of Dan Quinn, how about Dan Quinn to the Carolina Panthers? I think every head coaching job that comes open this year is going to be a real threat to poach Dan Quinn. I think he could have been a head coach last year had he taken any job. He didn't want any job, though. He was not in any rush to jump away. But the Panthers did fire Matt Rule today, which isn't a surprise to anyone who's paid attention to Carolina, because they're terrible. I believe their stat line is they are now 1-27 all time with Matt Rule when opposing teams scored more than 17 points, which is, you're never going to win football games that way. That just means your offense sucked there. The Panthers, I think, will have interest in Dan Quinn. What you might have to choose, even Sean Payton lingering out there still, is one of these 2 head coaches. So pick one. Who would you want to be your head coach for the Cowboys 2023? Only keep one. MM for Mike McCarthy, DQ for Dan Quinn. It is very tough for me to see Dan Quinn not being a head coach somewhere after this season. He's done too good of a job with this Cowboys defense, maximizing all kinds of different players. And a loss of Dan Quinn, hypothetically, would be significant. Could also just make him your head coach. Now, this is a future Cowboys problem of, do you pick Mike? Do you pick Dan? How does the season play out is so impactful in that entire conversation. So I'll acknowledge it today. That is a December, January, February conversation, depending on how this year goes and what else is out there.